free food actually inspired me to go there. A week or month to learn. You just learned it in 24 hours. 5 or 6, I was like, this is not our cup of tea. Let's go back to DSL Go. Initially, we lost 7 in a row.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Learning Bridge. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. So I am back with another amazing podcast, and this one is dedicated to those folks who are in this dilemma of comparing competitive programming versus development. And also the motive of this podcast is to reflect the importance and advantages of taking parts in the hackathons. Yes, and especially for the aspiring students, college students, hackathons definitely really important. But why? So just to reflect those things, I have invited a really talented student whose hackathon journey is really amazing. So he will be sharing his entire experience of taking part in hackathons. How did he start? What is the advantage of hackathons? Why someone should participate in it? And guys, so far he has won 15 hackathons, national plus internationals. And this is crazy. This number is really crazy. So he will also talk about it, like how he started winning these hackathons, what kind of strategies he used to pick, team, solo participation, everything, right? Every strategy, how you should even pick a theme. So these secret sauces he will be sharing. Make sure to watch this podcast till the very end. Every second is going to be really informative. And guys, also I have provided the timestamp for different questions in the description. So if you want to jump on some specific section, you can do it from there. I would request you to give a like to this video so that it can reach to maximum people. And also in the comment section, just put your thoughts, like if you have started with your hackathons and if you are facing any difficulties, and if you have some really amazing tips to share, then put it in the comment section. And if you are new to my channel, then don't forget to subscribe and press the notification, because I'll keep on bringing some really cool stuff in next coming weekend. Now I would like to talk about an amazing platform, Cryo.do, which actually believes in learning by doing. So if you are someone who is targeting some really good product based companies but lacking in the top notch skill sets which are really demanding in the market nowadays, like full stack development, backend development, and with the really latest tech stack, then this should be the go-to platform for you. I have shared a link in the description. Amazing discount is going on. They are majorly focusing on full stack development programs and backend development related programs. You can see all the important details here, the kind of real world projects you will be getting to work with, and the kind of latest technical skills they are covering. Definitely very extensive program with good mentorship support and doubt resolving sessions, good number of projects and micro skilling exercises. They are also running another amazing program, which is fellowship program in software development, where this point is really amazing placement guarantees. So definitely this is a go-to platform for you. Free trial is available for all the programs. You can definitely check that out. And don't forget to check the link which is in the description, because that can be really helpful for you. When you will click on that link, you will be landed on this home page where you can see one coupon code will be activated for you, and you can use it to get extra 10% off along with good percentage for the scholarship. And these will be the free perks which will still available for you. You can definitely use it for any sort of guidance. So hurry up, check this platform as soon as possible. So all right, thank you so much, Bridge, for joining my podcast. Nowadays we all know the values of taking parts in hackathons and how you can improve your dev skills. So that's why especially I have chosen Bridge and invited him to just join me on this podcast and share his wonderful journey. So it would be really great if you can introduce yourself, Bridge, and your academic background, your past.
For sure, Shashank. So it's an honor to be here. So hi everyone, my name is Bridge. Currently I'm a first year master's student at University of Alberta. So I did my undergrad from Charusat University, that's in Gujarat. But university was something that was just a part of my undergrad life. But majority of the time I used to be not in university but in external events, because I thought that's one of the very good way to bond and learn new things.
As you already said, right, you started like your bachelor's part already, you completed in India itself, and your college also comes in the tier 3 category, right? How did your hackathon journey start? Because I think for this one you need some sort of push, right? Someone to guide about it. Okay, what is that? How it is beneficial? So how your hackathon journey actually start, and what was the motivation behind it?
Exactly. So mine one is kind of funny. So free food actually inspired me to go there, but it was it was in my second year when this entire thing started. So as we all I think all can relate to this. Starting in our second year, majority of our seniors will say that just focus on DSL Go and you will get a job. So we were also no different, like me and my team. We were like, let's only focus on DSL Go and we'll get a job eventually, because that's all we wanted. But one day, I think we got a random mail in our college server that there is a hackathon being organized in a nearby college. We were not interested in this, but in that the line was mentioned that it's on weekends and you'll get a free t-shirt and some free foods like pizzas and everything. So you're like, it's better to go there instead of eating in the mess. So we were like, it's nearby. So actually my college is very isolated. So we had to wake up early and arrange transport to go there. So we actually went there. It was our first time, maybe second year. The students who were participating there were, I mean, they were too good. So it was a 24-hour hackathon. It was a very good setup. There were like 50 team members who they selected. We were one of them because they asked, like, are you a beginner? We were like, yes. And they wanted some beginners in hackathon. So that's how I got entry in that. It was a room, it was a hall, 50 participants, and there was a big projector where that was like 24 hours remaining, and there's 23, 22, 21. And at 0, hackathon ends. So there were 3 companies, they gave their problem statements, and they were like, just try to work on this. So we attempted, we could not solve, we attempted that, let's make at least something. So yeah, at the end of like 0, when the clock hit 0, it stopped, and I think it was time of results. So we were not shortlisted also, because in the top 50 it's top 10, and then you go on stage and pitch yourself. So we were not shortlisted, but we were there. I wanted to see that what's it like to win. But at that time, when the judge handled the winning team, a check of 15,000, the big check. So that was a time when I thought that, okay, can DS Algo give me this right now? Because what am I doing? In DS Algo, I'm preparing. I'll get the results after my 4th year, and that's not guaranteed. But if I do this also right by side, then it can give me boost. And that's how me and my team started, and there was no going back. So eventually, from that, looking at that 15,000 check being handled to some other team, eventually 1 year after that, we lifted a 250,000 check from Gujarat government. So that was something, I remember. In my team, we were all like introverts. We usually do not, like interact with someone. But in hackathon, there are like small events, right? That you get split into different teams, and your task is you have to just interact with some other team. And that's how we started to talk, actually. We started to see that, okay, which year are you from? And they were like, we are from second year, but you know so much. And I was not knowing anything at that point, because in first years, like, we had to take all the subjects, right? We had to take civil, mechanical, we had to take the environment science. I was like, okay, enough of learning everything. Let's start what you are doing.
Are you a fresher, student, or someone who feels that job market discriminates against you just because of the name of your college? I know first job matters a lot. It is the actual launch pad for your career, your next aspirations, and whatever you are going to do in the future. I have one crazy fact to share with you all, that approximately 15 lakh engineers used to graduate every year, and out of that 2.6 lakhs only get the job, and out of that 2.2 lakhs jobs in the software industry. And within that software industry, 1.8 lakhs people who get the job in the IT firms, like a service-based companies, which used to pay like 3, 4, 5 lakhs per annum. And 40K only get a job in decent companies, product-based companies, which used to pay 7, 8 LPA. Relevel by Unacademy has become India's most popular hiring platform, which empowers job seekers to showcase their skills and land into their dream job within 15 days. Relevel has launched their own learning product. So if you're someone who wants to start their career in software engineering, you can pick 2 tracks first, the front-end development and the back-end development. So these are the new courses which Relevel is going to launch. So what is there for you in these courses? 300 plus hours of learning, hackathons like coding tests, one-to-one placement mentorship, soft skill and interview preparation, merit-based scholarship, and Relevel social nights. So what are you waiting for? The product link is in the description. Go check that out and transform your career in the software engineering. Now your record is something like 15 hackathon wins so far, and this is definitely a very, very good number, and that is also good mix of national plus international hackathons, and within that, like, with teams and plus solo. So how did it happen? Like, how this magic actually started happening?
Consistency is very important thing. I've seen many teams, when they see a defeat, when they do not get in the top 10, top 5, when they do not see that some rewards, then what majority of the teams think is, what's the purpose? We were here for 24 hours, we were here for 36 hours, we coded so hard, but still I do not get anything. It's a waste of time. But why it's a waste? You learned something. The thing that you could in this hackathons, you learned something that you could have given your entire week or month to learn. You just learned it in 24 hours. It's not just like winning and losing. I mean, definitely, I also think the same way that if I lose, I feel demotivated. And that happens a lot. Initially, we lost 7 in a row. It was not 1, not 2, not 3. We lost 7 in a row. At 5 or 6, I was like, this is not our cup of tea. Let's go back to DS Algo. But that's where team comes in the picture. That if I am feeling low, my team members are like, why to give up now? We are almost there. Let's just go. Let's see why are we losing. So what we usually do is, after every hackathon, we see that why did we lose. We see that what's the winning projects. What did they do? So a few insights, if anyone wants to follow up on that when you're participating, what I have observed is, if there are 4 tracks, in hackathon it's usually like there are tracks assigned to us. It can be anything. It can be a company specific track. It can be a theme, anything. The ones that is you think is the most difficult, go for it. Just like because that's a mindset, right? If you think that it's very difficult, we can't do it, that same mindset will be there of every participant, and no one will do that. Initially, I see many tracks, they were unannounced because no one actually contributed in that track. Why? It's just that it seemed difficult. Using Twilio API, do this thing. Just go for it. It doesn't matter if you complete the project or not. It shows that you have attempted. So that was one learning I got. We did that. We explored that. We usually take the hardest problem statement and we just say, let's do it. First time we won using that theme, it was in Ahmedabad University. That's in Gujarat. So the problem statement was that a company came in university, and the problem statement they gave was that all the softwares, research papers are too long. It's like 15-20 paper research paper. No one wants to read such a tedious research paper. Can you abstract certain things for me? Can you abstract the summary, authors list, and everything? Just simple thing. You have to make a research paper summarizer. 2 themes were there. Either go for OCR or go for NLP. OCR is something that is ready-made. You can just pass an image and it will give you OCR. Majority teams did OCR. NLP is something that requires coding. It's something that it requires your efforts. No one did that. We did that, and we got there. So that was the first win. It was just a 5,000 win, but we have kept that amount. We have not even distributed amongst all 4 of us. We just say that it's our first win. Let's keep it as it is. Our next wins we'll distribute. So that's how I started. I don't think that if a project has not been declared as winner, it's of no purpose. You can use certain chunks of project in your next hackathon. It's not like code is not reusable, right? You can. The part where you have invested your majority of time, and you have finally solved that thing, in the next hackathon, in any of the hackathons or any of the events, it might happen that you will be encountered with a very similar situation. And that point you'll be like, okay, I have done this. Let me just pull up my repository and see that can I explore this? If there is, then it's a plus point because you have done that job.
Why do you think taking participation in the hackathons has some relevance, has some really good importance, and especially for the college students? Like, why do you think, as you already mentioned, okay, just do DSLGO, and probably if you are really pro in the competitive programming or anything, like you will crack big companies, very like fatty package or something. But why do you think this is something which college students should definitely explore?
Let's understand it this way, that what if you have invested 4 years in normal data. I'm not telling to not go for DSLGO. I'm just saying to have a proper balance between them. So let's say you have invested 4 years in DSLGO, and first time you go in a company and you have this Docker, you have this React symbols, and you say that, okay, C#, you have to Kibana. All these terminologies show up in front of you, and you are like, okay, but I only know binary search. I only know how to reverse the linked list. So it's a completely new field that you will dive in, and majority of us sink in. It's not like we should know everything and then only we should go, but majority of us will sink in. But I think that what you will work on, if you have experience of that in your undergrad, then it will be much faster for you, much smoother conversion for you. So that's why I thought that development is as important as DSLGO. Now let's say how my story ended up. So as I mentioned that I used to maintain a proper balance between both of them, but majorly focus on development. So how did it end up? So in my final year, when college placements are going on, I was not interested in the placements at all. So when every one of my batchmates, everyone was in like proper formals, that sitting in interviews, and that's what was happening in campus. So there was a company named Thomson Reuters. They conducted a hackathon, and they were like, whoever will win this, they will get a cash. It was a 51,000, and they will get an internship. Okay. So I was like, that seems like my company. So let's go. I was like, let's go in this. So me and my roommate, we were staying in the same room in a hostel. So we were like, I asked him randomly that, do you want to participate? So he was like, his typical words were, ऐसे भी मेरा किसी company में नहीं हो रहा है. So let's try this one. I was like, yeah, let's go. So it's a random 2 a.m. chat. It's a random 2 a.m. chat, and you're thinking, let's participate. He was like, yeah, let's go for it. So we did. We showed up, and we won. So we got the winning, and we got the internship. So he is now currently a full-time employee there. He got his job from Hackathon, and not only I got a job there, but I also got a internship offer in Canada that when I asked my manager that I'm planning my masters, so will you be willing to give me a position in Canada headquarters? They were like, yeah, I'll give you, and he referred me, and it was a very smooth process. Yeah, it was like, this is how it ended up for me. So it's like when everyone says that development doesn't give you a job, it's not true.
Actually, you have already talked about a very specific strategy which you opted while taking participation in the hackathons. But apart from that, right, what other strategies you think which help you to win these hackathons? It could be anything, like, let's say, how did you prioritize the things in your project, how you started building it, and if you think those things actually help you to win those hackathons, it would be great if you can share with our audience.
Definitely. So, like, after some time we were having a mainstream pipeline that we follow for every event. So I'll just
Okay.
What the pipeline is, that we don't prepare in advance, like because we don't know the problem statement, right? So there is no purpose of thinking advance. So what we do is, as soon as we get the problem statement, we first write down every problem statement that's given, and then 4 of us will decide which one shall we go for. It's majorly like 2 of us decide, the other 2 are like, they agree to whatever we say, because it's like, you do the thinking part, we'll do the coding part. I was like, yeah, that's okay, that works for me. So me and my other friend, we used to just think that which is the, like, a more competitive manner, that which is the problem statement that people will choose minimum, and that's what we used to choose, because as we mentioned, that's less competition. So I used to go for that. Once we have decided the problem statement, the next thing is to make a flowchart that that how do we start. So we usually do pair programming. So me and other guy, we used to do backend, and my other 2 friends, they used to do front end. So we usually divide the entire workflow, that how are you gonna design front end, and accordingly we'll give you the APIs for that. So that's how the flow was there. If it's a 24-hour hackathon, 12-hour division, 12 hours for just individual task, and in the next remaining 12 hours, integration of both the front end and back end.
Okay.
Yeah, initially it was a lot of miscommunication, because we do not know each other's coding style. But after some time, after 2022 hackathons, it was like, yeah, I know what you do, let's go for it. So that's it. I mean, in the later ones, it was like 24 hours, we will be done in 6-7 hours. And then for the later hours, we used to play Counter-Strike or something, because we know that what you will do. That's the second step. Just make a complete roadmap of what you are going to achieve. Once that's done, start coding, start merging. In the last 12 hours, think of merge. If you got some time, work on the presentation, how will you pitch? Because we only have 2 minutes to pitch. It's a very, let's say, not a good side in hackathons, but 24-hour hard work. We have to just pitch it in 1 minute, max 2 minutes.
Wow.
So that's because after 2 minutes, they'll literally have a clock or a buzzer or something that they will stop you. They will disconnect your mic connection. They'll do anything, but they'll not allow you to speak after 2 minutes. So that's the last thing. So once all these 4 steps are done, you're good to go.
All right. Since in this point you talked about your team, communication, everything. Now, as I already know that you have take participation in hackathon as a team, and apart from that, you have won some hackathons as a solo participant. So according to you, participate as a team or go solo? Which one is much better and why?
Definitely go for teams, because if you are in the starting phase, let's say second year, first year, freshman, second year, third year, teams is a much better choice. You don't know much of the tech stack. Like, as we mentioned, I was only familiar with the backend. I used to do Django REST framework APIs. I used to make SQL databases, but my front end was not so powerful. So at that time, my other teammates' front end was very powerful. So we used to communicate that, can you handle the front end for us, and I'll design the back end for you. So starting time was something that we are not aware of everything, right? So, but after third year, I was like, okay, now it's getting more dependent. Because I was very much good. I used to do backend very smoothly, but now I was in my comfort zone, and I do not like that. So I was like, do you want to swap? Like, do you want to do the backend? I'll do the front end. So there was some miscommunication in that, and team was not visible in it. So I was like, okay, let's do one thing. I'll go solo for a few hackathons, and let's see what do we get. So they were like, yeah, that's all right. So it was very awkward, because there were actually some events where I used to see my team just next by me coding, and I used to go solo. So it was very, very difficult thing to watch, but that's something you have to go out of your comfort zone. I don't know how to center a division tag. I don't know how these colors are changed. I used to spend hours working on that. Okay, how do I make it responsive? How do I do that? But figured out eventually Stack Overflow is always there. So I did that. Later, after some events, I got the hang of it. And HTML Bootstrap, I figured out that's not the way to go. So I started learning Flutter. Flutter's UI works very well. So I was like, okay, let's use Flutter for front end and let's use Python Django for back end. And it works like a charm. So I used that tech stack. And that's how I started winning solo once that, because now my front end is as professional as it can get and my back end I was already good in it. So I started winning solo. I used to feel that, okay, I can do something even if I'm not in team. But eventually we again started participating in the team because that's where I belong. I wanted to see that even if my team is not there, can I perform? And I figured out I can perform, but this is not the place. I have to, because there are some time, because it's like a psychology thing as well, because many judges used to ask me that, are you solo? And I was like, yeah, I'm solo participant. And they used to, at the very back of my mind, they used to think that, how can you build so much, how can I build a complete prototype in just 24 hours being solo? But they do not know that I used to participate in, this is my 40, maybe 36 or something. So they do not know that. And they think that I have taken from somewhere, I have references somewhere. That's a psychology thing. So I was like, let's go back to teams.
How will I get that information? Where these hackathons are getting conducted? How will I participate? So if you can share that information as well, that would be really useful. Like how to get the information about hackathons happening across the globe. Is there any dedicated platform which someone can refer, or it's just like become a part of communities and you will get that information from there?
I was actually struggling with that question because I don't know whom to ask that. Where do I get this information? The thing is that there is a very good site. I saw that as well, Davefolio. Yeah, so Davefolio is a very good site because it lists all the recent hackathons, upcoming hackathons you have. So Davefolio is a good thing to go. And once you get in any one of the events, what they do is when they next time arrange some events, they already have the email IDs of the ones that participated. So they send you recurring mails that, we have this event, do you want to participate? And then it's up to you. It's like a word of mouth, because once you go there, you make some friends and then you connect with them on LinkedIn. So when you just mention them that, if you are participating somewhere, let me know. Maybe I'll also join you if my time suits. And it's all based on networks. But the thing that I use for searching, like now I don't search hackathons, but when I used to search, I used to search on Davefolio, and DavePost is also a very good platform if you want to explore that. So these are two websites I used to see the upcoming ones.
You might have faced this question a lot from your fellow juniors and other students, like how to manage time in college for programming and developmental skill. In the beginning of this podcast, you mentioned that just maintain a good balance of these two. Someone wants to maintain that balance, like how? Because any specific thing can seek your attention and you will be like madly following it, be it the CP programming or be it the development.
For balance, what I used to do is, for my first year and second year, I used to see grades a lot. That I used to get, I have to get 9.9, 9.8 or something. I got that for first year. My CGPA was 9.8. Second year 9.9. But then I got another 5 grades. 5 grades. What is the purpose of grades? And then I was okay. Let's drop for now. I mean, what I used to do is I used to spend most of my time in development, either side projects or making certain apps for myself, participating in the event. And when the exams come up, for a 1 or 2 days to study for that exam, and I used to pass that. That's it. Simple balance. Just focus on one lane. Where do you want to go? But for CP, I do not used to do that because I know that DS Algo is one important thing that I should know. So what I used to do for DS Algo is every morning or every evening, I used to set up a certain time, but it's for 2 hours. I have to practice that. It's not for, according to college courses, that it's all right if I don't practice that. But for CP, I have to do it for 2 hours. And same goes for development as well. I have to do it for 2 hours. No excuse in that. Weekends were a bit different, because not every weekend we have a hackathon, right? So in weekends, even if there is a hackathon or not, I used to make some side apps for myself. Sometimes it used to go viral in my university, sometimes nothing. But that's a part of life. That's all right.
I will wrap up this session with one last and final question. And that's because you are doing your master's in Canada. Students used to have these kind of plans like, okay, just do the graduation and probably having some industry experience for, let's say, 2-3 years. And then even they used to plan to go for the master's. So like, what would you advise to those folks who are in this dilemma, like to pursue job or go for master's?
So the same confusions I had as well, that what do I want to do? So it was like, let's at least apply to top 5 in Canada. And if I get in any one of them, I'll go. if I don't get in, I had a good job. I had a good job in Reuters. I had a full-time position of a data engineer. So same as you, Shashanka. So I had a position of data engineer in Reuters, and I was doing good. I had a wish to start early in my master's career, that that I can full-fledged then work in industry without worrying of academics ever again. So that's just was one thing. So I applied in top 5, and I had this very firm mindset that if I get in any one of it, I'll go. If I don't get in, I'll wait for next year. And I got in, so I took this opportunity. But when I'm here, I see that many of my batchmates, they are not freshmen, like they are not just after their university. They have done experience. They have like 3 years of experience, and then they are here. So both options are open. Just make sure you try to apply in top universities if you want to do your master's from.
That's what we had for this podcast, guys. And thank you so much, Brij. This session was really informative, and your journey, like just to share your experience about the importance of hackathons, how you can start, how you should participate, what all things you need to focus. And these are some very, very small and to the point information, which I guess nowadays the aspiring students needs. So it was really wonderful to have you on my show.
Thank you so much, Ashank. The honor is mine.
So that was all about in this podcast, guys. I hope you would have enjoyed the entire conversation with Brij, and for me this is really informative, and I'm hoping same for you. So if you did, then make sure to give a like and put your thoughts in the comment section. And if you're new to my channel, then also subscribe and press the notification icon. I'll see you guys in the next weekend. Till then, just stay safe, stay home, take care of yourself and your family too.